The Seattle Kraken with a very eventful 4-1 win over the San Jose Sharks, the team that blew them out at home just a little over a week ago, or about a week ago. And now the Kraken, they come back and they play a very eventful game. Glenn, we can get the details, but what is your big takeaway from this?
If I may mix my German and French, Philipp Grubauer, magnifique.
Ooh la la.
Because he comes in, 18 seconds left in the first period. The Sharks have just scored to tie the game, and Matt Murray, in trying to make the save, hurt something. Well, all we know is it's a lower body injury. He leaves. Grubauer comes in, last 18 seconds. Then in the second period, it was interesting. He said, the way the Sharks swarmed his net in the first couple of minutes of the second period got him into the game.
So Matt Murray does leave the game at the very end of the first period. Well, why don't we quickly go through a quick game recap? So the Kraken score early on a very nice Jaden Schwartz goal off a Chandler Stevenson play that was willed by Chandler Stevenson. We'll talk about him a little bit later. At the end of the first period, the Kraken are killing a penalty or attempting to, and do so unsuccessfully. They allow a goal, and Matt Murray on that goal ends up kind of crumpling over, leaves the game at the very end of the first period. Grubauer comes in, and then in the second period, Grubauer, and for the rest of the game, Grubauer did not allow a shot. Stopped all 19 shots that he faced, but in the second period, grade A chance after grade A chance after grade A chance. The Kraken do score 2 goals to make it 3-1, and then an empty netter to make it 4-1, and that's how we got here. So those are the quick notes, but there's a whole lot detail in those quick notes.
Well, as I was saying about how Grubauer got in the game, and goalies like to face shots right away, but not like the Sharks were shooting them. Ty Dellandrea has the puck all by himself right on the lip of the goal crease. Philipp Grubauer, and if there's been a knock on Grubauer in his 4+ seasons playing goal for Seattle, it's that he doesn't make the game-changing save. He's good positionally, but he won't make the save that turns the tide. Tonight he did, and not just once, but several times. Once on Dellandrea, as the Kraken gave up 5 shots on goal, all good chances in the first 2.5 minutes of the period. As one of the Kraken players said after the game, I think it was Chandler Stevenson, it could have been 3-1 for San Jose instead of 3-1 for Seattle. But Grubauer's calming influence in keeping the score 1-1 gave the Kraken time enough to right themselves and eventually take the lead with 2 goals in 38 seconds.
Yeah, it was interesting because the thing that we always saw, especially in the inaugural season, I remember it was like if there was a breakaway, it felt like Grubauer was just not going to stop it, or he would stop 1 out of 4 breakaways. And there was a moment this game where it was Will Smith is skating down. It's he's all alone, doesn't score, but then on the follow through, the puck does go in the net. The net gets knocked off its moorings. There is a whistle. There is a long review, and they ruled that it was no goal because that it was kicked into the net. Now, the rule is that it needs to be a distinct kicking motion. And I'm going to go all the way back to the very, very first game the Kraken ever played. And they were down 3-0, and they came back. This was in Vegas. And in the third period, the Kraken, after being down, they tied it. And then Chandler Stevenson, of all people, scores the goal for Vegas to take the lead and win it, and it was kicked in. But they ruled that it wasn't distinct enough the threshold is very high for a kicked in goal. It really needs to be like a deliberate, distinct kicking motion. So, but that was not deliberate or distinct enough back in year one, game one, and so they upheld the goal.
Yeah.
This goal was far less distinct or deliberate. I don't really understand how this goal was disallowed. I think the Kraken got a break. I think that should have been a goal, Glenn.
It's subjective, and I agree with you on this one that Will Smith, it was the momentum of his skates that carried the puck in. Interestingly enough, Jaden Schwartz, the first goal you spoke about that the Kraken score, it went in off his skate.
That's true. That's true.
Chandler Stevenson sent a centering pass, and Schwartz whiffed with his stick, but it hit his skate and deflected in. They changed this rule several years ago.
Right.
It used to be if it hits your skate, it's likely not a goal.
Right.
You couldn't even turn your ankle and have it go in. That would be ruled no goal. They realized that was too restrictive. So they limited it to, as you said, distinct kicking motion. Now, distinct kicking motion doesn't mean intentional kicking
Right.
motion. So if you're splitting hairs, I suppose that's where the call may have come from. I think there was a kicking motion that helped propel the puck into the net, but I do not believe that Will Smith had any intention of doing that. If anything, he's trying to hold up so that he doesn't plow into the goalie and into the cage.
Well, the crowd did not chant, "Refs, you don't suck. Refs, you don't suck." Probably because that doesn't scan very well. Maybe if you go like, "Refs, you don't suck." Clap, 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 clap. See. So next time the officials award the Kraken a non-goal, we'll start that chant. Refs, you don't suck. Clap,
It's only
clap,
fair.
clap, clap, clap.
A couple other things to note on that play, however, which started when Vince Dunn couldn't keep the puck in at the left point, and Will Smith had a breakaway from his own side of the red line. I mean, he had time to, knit a sweater while he was skating in on goal. But Grubauer was more aggressive than I've seen him in the past. He made a poke check first. He got a piece of the puck.
Yes.
Not all of it. Usually when you make a poke check, it's either you get it all or you're giving up a goal. What impressed me was he got a piece of the puck. It went back to Smith, however, who took the initial shot, and Grubauer got a pad on that. So this threw Smith off, where all that was left was for the puck to hit his skate in the confusion and then go in. But let's give credit to Grubauer for both the poke check and making the initial pad save.
Did it seem to you that he was maybe a little bit more aggressive this game than he had been years past? I know that in the past, it was a real clear distinction or difference in style between Joey Decourt and Philip Grubauer. Joey being much more aggressive, going out to challenge the shooters, and Grubauer being more passive and positionally. But it seems like maybe some of Joey's rubbed off a little bit on Grubauer. It seemed like he was maybe a little bit more aggressive, although it is hard to say. He only faced 19 shots, so maybe I'm reading something that's not there.
I think it was there. When I saw Grubauer go for the poke check, I went, let me check the number on the back. Is that really the German gentleman? It was. And it was part of the confidence that he showed, because you don't make that play if you're not playing confident. I asked him if coming in cold in the middle of a game is different than when you know from morning skate that you're the guy. And he said, no, not really. You have to be prepared no matter what the situation. But you have to believe, who knows? Maybe not having to think about it all day can actually be a plus. You go in. He did have the intermission to kind of get his mind in playing condition. But I felt like if Grubauer has played a better game and a better period than he showed us tonight, at least in the regular season, in 4+ years for the Kraken, I haven't seen it. He was outstanding. I would have given him all 3 stars.
Oh, he was. It was 19 saves over the last 2 periods, but they were not easy saves. There was a save on Macklin Celebrini on a one-timer on the power play that 100% looked like it was a goal.
Yeah.
And it was just, Grubauer just snapped it off, and it was spectacular.
It was a glove save on a power play. And Celebrini is getting to be like Ovechkin with his office. You know, you set him up on the dot on one of the circles and let him pound away.
Yeah.
And the TV replays even showed him looking skyward after, like, I thought I had that one. So that one goes in Grubauer's glove when he slides across. Again, an athletic play, not a positional play. It's an athletic play, and he gets the glove out. A few seconds after that, still on the power play, Celebrini shoots again. And this time, Grubauer gets a pad out and makes the save. And Celebrini's already got 10 goals on the season. He got one in the last game against the Kraken. This guy's a phenom, 2024's first overall pick. He's the real deal. And making a save on him isn't easy because the great shooters, they don't shoot it straight. It's always got a little knuckle, a little curve. Something's always happening with his shot. And Grubauer was up to it. 15 saves is all 15 saves aren't the same. His 15 save effort easily could have saved 3 or 4 goals.
It was 19, right? 19 saves?
But 15 in the second period.
Oh, yes. Yeah, that second period, boy howdy, there was a lot going on. I want to talk about Chandler Stevenson because he was not very good last year, I don't think, even though the assist totals and point totals said that he was productive. But I think if you saw his impact on the ice, teams had an easier time scoring. It wasn't generating a lot of offense. And this year, I think he's been better. I think he still struggled a lot at times. But tonight, he really impressed me. On the first goal, he gets possession of the puck, wills it into the zone, and then makes a beautiful pass across to Jaden Schwartz. As you mentioned, it did go off his stick, although it wasn't like, it wasn't egregious. It just like you looked at it like, oh, did that go off his stick? I guess so.
That's right. He gets full credit for the pass anyway. It did go off Schwartz's skate, but it still resulted in a goal, and that's what it's all about.
And then the second assist he had was a 2-on-1 with Ellie Tolvanen, and it was a 2-on-1 that started so far back. Usually when you get an on-man rush like that, it's like starts maybe in the neutral zone. This started all the way back in the other zone, and it felt like they were just like going back and forth, like it was like a practice drill, like they used in training camp.
As Ellie Tolvanen said, when Chandler's got the puck, you need to be ready because passing is one of his skills. He is better in the offensive zone than he is in the defensive zone. And we talked off camera that maybe it's finding the right deployment for him and maybe starting him more offensive draws. He takes most of the faceoffs for the Kraken all over the ice, but he certainly knows how to dish the puck. What I hope doesn't happen is that goalies start taking for granted the fact he's not going to shoot. Occasionally he has to keep them honest by calling his own number. But twice tonight, he found the open man. And Tolvanen, we should point out, who didn't score at all in the first 13 Kraken games, has now scored in back-to-back games and 3 goals in his last 5 games. So just like a hitter in baseball, it's streaky. A home run hitter, you go a few games without, people start going, what's wrong with him? Same for Tolvanen. He would tell you he's not really doing anything different. It's just instead of the shots going off the crossbar or into the netting, they're going in the net.
It's nice to get a little bit of puck luck. Yeah, you need that, especially a team that's been so challenged offensively this season with this kind of defense first approach that Lane Lambert has implemented. Ellie Tolvanen, he had a quote that I liked. He said something along the lines of like, Chandler Stevenson can make passes that most guys can't make. Yeah. And I think that it's interesting because everyone is buying into the system. Everyone seems bought in. Everyone seems like they're pretty even keeled. It doesn't seem to be a lot of panic, and it like whatever is thrown at the team, is they're just like, okay, let's roll with it. Kaapo Kakko is going to miss, it seems like, quite a while.
Yes.
On injured reserve.
When they say week to week instead of day to day.
I'm not a doctor, although I have 3 siblings who are doctors. So if you roll a die, there's a 75% chance that I'm a doctor. I think that's how that works. But it seemed to me that it was probably a groin strain, which would be like a 4 to 6 week injury. Would be what I would guess based on just the way he moved and the way he acted when he went off. It was non-contact, and it really looked like it was a groin issue. So Kaapo Kakko did not play. Freddie Gaudreau, however, didn't come back, and he did come back. Played his first game after missing, I think, like 12 games. With it,
he hadn't played since October 16th.
October 16th. Okay. And he seemed to be rusty. He did have a shorthanded breakaway that the shot went high, missed the glass. But who knows what's going to happen with Jared McCann? It sounds like he's maybe close to coming back, but
we might see him on the road trip.
We might see him on the road trip. The Kraken are going on a road trip for this week. So, it's really nice to come into this building and see the Kraken play. There were ebbs and flows, but I think you're seeing more consistently a 60-minute effort than you have had in 2 seasons. One person I wanted to highlight who was not named one of the 3 stars tonight was Matty Beniers. Matty has been awesome. Doesn't have the gaudy point totals, but he has played such a strong 200-foot game, and he's blocking shots. He's beating guys at the puck. He's muscling guys off the puck, which is something that we wanted to see after he was the one getting muscled off. I think he has found his role, his place, and settled in. Yeah, it would be nice to have a little bit more offense coming from him, but I think his full all 3 zone game has been really outstanding. And I was noticing his defensive plays all night, and I just wanted to give him his flowers.
Matty Beniers was one of many Kraken who made significant blocks tonight. And by the way, one of his blocks came on the penalty kill. Matty Beniers getting PK time.
Well, certainly you got to do something about the PK because it hasn't been good. So we can talk about that. So the only goal the Kraken gave up was at the end of the first period. It was on the penalty kill, and you had four guys on one side, and Alex Wenberg was just wide open on the back door, and a pass goes to him. No one's covering him, and he scores. And
Ex-Kraken,
original Kraken. Some might say the most handsome Kraken there ever has been. Check your local book talk listings.
I wouldn't argue.
Yeah, no, he's stupid, sexy Wenberg.
I love a Ned Flanders reference. So the Kraken give up a goal on their first shorthanded chance. And you figure, here we go again. The San Jose Sharks, by the way, it's a weird statistic. They're middle of the pack on the power play this season, but on the road, they have the top power play in the league statistically. So they're very good away from the Shark Tank. And the Kraken, I thought this was going to be a big self-inflicted wound. Take 5 more penalties, 3 of them in the third period.
Now, how many goals did they give up on those 5 penalties, Glenn?
Nil.
0.
All
right.
I
got to carry the 1. I got to do some math. Okay, 0 is not a lot, or it is a lot?
It's for the Kraken. It's definitely not a lot. That they kill 5 of 6 penalties. They killed the last 5. All 5 of those weren't the full 2 minutes, but it doesn't matter because the Kraken were taking 3 penalties, protecting a 2-goal lead in the third period against a power play that has already scored 1 on them. And a couple of those penalties were self-inflicted wounds too. There was a Ty Carte puck over the glass when he really wasn't being pressured. The Kraken give up to Mr. Wenberg a shorthanded semi-breakaway where Jordan Eberle has to grab him to prevent the scoring chance. I count that as a self-inflicted wound. And then the third penalty, I don't remember who took it, but it was holding on Ryan Reeves. That goal-scoring machine, Ryan Reeves. So you're saying, San Jose, please get back in the game. But what impressed me about the Kraken was for all of that, for having 3 penalty killing situations in the entire 20 minutes with a San Jose team that had peppered your goalie with shots in the second period, San Jose only got 5 shots on goal in the third period. It was like Grubauer in the second period had choked the life out of them, and they weren't the same team in the third period.
And the team was behind, and they only mustered 5 shots. This is what happened in the very first game, Glenn. I don't know if you remember, against Vegas, that the Kraken had a lead, and in the third period, Vegas, they were like, you know what, we can't beat these guys, and they kind of gave up in the third. I really do believe that. I know that other smart people that we talked to, they felt the same way. Vegas, they were just like, you know what, we're just gonna call it, and we'll move on to the next game. And that happened tonight, and it is really weird to see the Kraken impose their will on teams that then they're like, you know what, this Kraken team is too good. It's just, you know what, we'll just call it a day, and we'll move on to the next one.
It did feel in the third period like the Sharks had it in their heads. Like Grubauer, and I guess the Kraken in front of him, had gotten in their heads. It's nothing a hockey player would ever admit, or any athlete, but it did feel that way, because why did you go from dominating? They dominated physically in the first period. They dominated the scoring chances in the second period, even though they were outscored 2-0. But by the third, it felt like, no pun intended, they didn't have anything in the tank.
Yeah. It was some pun intended.
Okay, maybe. Let me talk about the blocks, too. Because Matty Benier wasn't the only one. There were several Kraken who took one for the team. I mean, you could tell they were hurting with the block. Jaden Schwartz, besides the 2 goals, he saved a goal when Grubauer couldn't get across from one side to the other. It was a gaping, wide open net, but Schwartz gave up the body, took the body blow, went down. That means as much to teammates as scoring 2 goals does.
Yeah.
Brandon Montour took a shot that felled him temporarily. The Sharks must be one of the highest miles per hour shooting teams in the league. At least it seemed that way tonight, because the Kraken were going down like bowling pins, but they kept getting in the way of shots. And, that just makes the goalie want to do even better when the shots do get through.
Of note, Adam Larson had a goal from the point. The 2 goals in the second period, I think, were 38 seconds apart.
That's right.
So, it went from like, it's a close game. Like, the Kraken scored 2-1. Like, all of a sudden it's 3-1. So that was those 38 seconds really were the whole game. And then at the end of the game, the Kraken were on the penalty kill. The Sharks had pulled the goalie, and so they were 6-on-4.
Right.
And Jaden Schwartz gets the empty net shorthanded goal from. It was far away. It was from the end zone, and he really just kind of sniped it. I don't know if you can snipe it from 150 feet away.
Well, he did.
He did. So
I guess you can.
Which then is also the Kraken's first shorthanded goal of the season. A shorthanded empty net goal. Not their first empty net goal, but their first shorthanded goal. So I guess now
2 men down.
2 men down. So does that count as 2 shorthanded goals?
You try to stay away from the math. That other one was all the math.
Yeah. That's numbers are hard.
We talked about puck luck that the Kraken have had recently. There was one more example in this game. It came in the first period. Philip Kurashev of the Sharks. This is when the game was scoreless. He shot a puck from the inside edge of the left circle when Matt Murray was still in goal. It went off the far right post. It caroms across the goal line. It hits the near post. Somehow, by all rights, that puck should have gone in. It looked like it went in, but it didn't. It hit both posts, and that wasn't the end of it. The puck's then lying there in the crease, minding its own business. Celebrini is racing toward it, like a shark and chum,
Oh, yeah.
kind of like that. And just before he can reach it to poke it the last 2 feet, both Larson and Dunn get there an instant before him and knock the puck away. You need puck luck as well as skill and determination and all that other good stuff. You got to have puck luck because it's a funny game that way, a game of inches. So the Kraken did get that puck luck. They did get the benefit of a borderline non-goal call. And they have been on the plus side of a couple of pivotal goal challenge calls, one in St. Louis in the last couple of seconds. And now this one, both could have gone against the Kraken. Both went in their favor. So it's a little bit of everything, the recipe for winning games. And my last point about this game is I think the important thing about beating the Sharks was not so much avenging the loss from 10 days ago, although that's nice. The important thing was you beat a good Winnipeg team 5-3 here a couple of days ago, and you gained that 2 points. You don't want to, in essence, give that back at home to a team you feel you should beat. So it's good psychologically to keep that momentum going by winning again, not as convincingly as 4-1 sounds, but you won. And now you take that good feeling on the plane to Detroit.
And it's worth noting that a Kraken is a much larger sea animal than a shark. There's no reason why a shark should be able to defeat a Kraken. I understand if a jet could because a Kraken can't get into a jet.
No.
Or a star. Like a star is way bigger. An avalanche, right? Like that's not like a Kraken, needs water, not snow. So there are a lot of different ways to defeat a Kraken, but a shark is not one of them, Glenn.
It wasn't tonight.
I don't know what a red wing is, so I don't know how Tuesday is going to go.
I don't know. It's a wing on a wheel, so that kind of confuses me.
Yeah,
too.
it's really strange. So, but the Kraken do go on the road. They will be playing Detroit on Tuesday at 4 p.m. So these weird East Coast super early start times, and that's. Do you have anything else you want to add, Glenn?
Nope. We'll be with you after that game. They play at Chicago. Dare I say those are a pair of winnable games on the road?
You would hope so. I mean, who knows what I think the Kraken can be anybody. I think, they can also lose to anybody. That has been true for previous teams, but I think I feel more confident about them this year than I have even in 22. It just felt a little fluky. It's like, they won 8-6. I'm like, they won 9-8. 9-8, Glenn. They won a game 9-8.
Happens all the time.
No, it does not happen all the time.
Sorry.
No.
I stand or sit corrected.
One thing about that, real quick, that 9-8 game.
Against LA.
Against LA. This was in year 2. And I had a friend who was new to hockey. And she said, okay, I'm going to have a party. We're going to invite people who are hockey curious, and then people who have, who understand the game. And so it was like me and, 2-3 other people who had watched a lot of hockey. And then maybe like 10 people who hadn't. This was their first hockey game. And so it's 8-8 at the end of regulation. There were 16 goals scored, and then it went to overtime. And they're like, wow, hockey's great. And I'm like, well, no, it is great, but it's not this great usually. They're like, man, hockey's awesome. Like, you get to see so many goals. And I had to explain to them that the hockey's not usually don't see 17 goals per game. And they were disappointed. So I don't know if they're going to.
If they had come to this game, if they had only watched the middle period, they would have been hooked too, because this was entertainment. If you're a Kraken fan, the goal, non-goal call, Grubauer's excellent play. When there's a home goal and then there's another home goal in the same minute, because you're not done cheering for the first one. The PA announcer, Chet Buchanan, isn't done announcing the first goal, and it happens again, and it feels like the roof is going to blow off the arena.
The Grooves were really loud tonight.
Yeah.
The energy was really high tonight. Philip Grubauer is so easy to love, and I think people want to see him do well.
And these weren't Grooves hoping to will him to a good performance.
They were just like, oh, Grew. No, Grew. Like, oh, Grew.
And we may see more of Grubauer, because with Murray, who knows, and Joey Decord, who knows, we don't even know if either one of them will sit second chair in Detroit. Now, Decord is eligible to come off injured reserve, but we don't know exactly what his health is. We don't know who we might see. But after this performance, I would expect Philip Grubauer to get another opportunity. But then again, figuring out goalie rotations is a fool's errand.
I guess we'll have to just wait a few days to find out. Yeah. So Kraken do have a few days off. They go on the road again on Tuesday. That's it. If you could do us a huge favor and subscribe to the channel and give this a like, it would really help us out. It helps us out as we're getting this stream going. So we're doing this every Saturday, or every Saturday there is a Kraken game. And So for Davy Jones Locker Room, I'm Zane Begg,
I'm Glenn Dreyfus.
and we'll see you next time.